What if the best way to grow your online business had nothing to do with being connected to the internet? Well, if you're here because you want to grow your business online, what I'm about to share with you might change the way you think about this. Let's dive into this. A little bit of backstory. When I started my first business online, end of 2005 into 2006, and up until 2009, I struggled big time. I was transitioning online from being a personal trainer and nutritionist, working with clients one-on-one in person, and I was just burnt out by that. So I thought I'm going to come online and live the laptop lifestyle. Kick up my feet, read an ebook, throw it up online, and people will buy it. Well, guess what happened? Not that. So for the next 3.5 years, I struggled big time. My first year online, I made a grand total of $6,000. The next year wasn't much better. And by 2009, I was making less than $20,000 per year, even though my full-time focus was building my online health business. So I had to make a change. And at the end of 2009, I sat down at the end of the year at Starbucks. And I just kind of was jotting some notes down. I'm thinking, okay, dude, what you've been doing hasn't been working. It's time for a change. So I wrote down a bunch of stuff in my journal and I looked at, okay, what was I doing? And what I was doing basically consisted of the following. I sat at my desk, which was at the time like a $50 kitchen table from IKEA that was in my kitchen. My dog's pee pad was right beside me on the floor. That was kind of the situation at the time. And all I did was I lived behind my laptop at my kitchen table. That's it. I had no idea about anyone else in the industry. I wasn't connected to anyone. I had no network. I had no friendships or relationships with anyone else in the online health space. It was me and my computer, and that was it. So at the end of 2009, I said, well, that's what I was doing. Maybe I should do the complete opposite. And so what I did at the beginning of 2010 was I committed to going to some actual in-person events and hire a coach. Those were the two commitments that I made to myself, even though I didn't have the money to do so. I threw in my visa and I made it happen. But I'll tell you this. It was the single best decision I ever made in my last 18 years in business online. And the reason for that is this. I started to eventually recognize that proximity is power, and your environment really dictates what you're able to create in your world, in your life. When I started to go to these events, I started to be connected and meeting people who are doing very big things. I'm talking about 7- and 8-figure businesses in the online health, wellness, and fitness space. And these guys and gals were no smarter than I was. And I thought to myself, what the fuck am I not understanding here? And I started to recognize that there was a lot that I didn't understand. The nuances of marketing, the nuances of mindset, thinking bigger, what it takes to really build a great business. Those insights never would have happened had I stayed behind my computer. So the number one way, oddly enough, to grow your online business is to spend more time offline. And I know that sounds very counterintuitive, but I can share with you from personal experience that this is 100% true. Are there probably examples of people who just been hermits behind their computer? Yeah, for sure. I'm not gonna refute that. But the reality is it's so much more effective to be connected with people who are doing big things. So since that time, 2010 to the present, I've invested more than $1.1 million in my own coaching, masterminds, events, mentorship. It's been such a huge component to my growth that I would be absolutely stupid not to continue doing this stuff. I share this with you because if you think that you can grow a great business by yourself or in isolation, I want to just spare you this frustration and spare you the struggle, because that's exactly what's going to happen. I'll share a story with you to hopefully hit this home. A good buddy of mine, I'll just kind of save his name for privacy, great fitness expert. And he had done the whole book authorship, be on TV, that whole circus act. I'm doing well, but not really doing well type of thing. So he had done that for a number of years. He came online in about 2010, and he had noticed kind of my journey and some other friends' journeys, all in a similar space. He had invested like $100,000 in building this fancy app or this online platform, and no one knew about it. And it was just money down the drain. He didn't know any better. He didn't know what to do. So we actually were at a mastermind together. We're sitting at a boardroom table and he's sitting down, and then another friend of ours is sitting right beside him. So that friend of his or ours opened up his laptop and was checking his daily numbers. And our buddy just kind of leaned back and happened to catch a peek at the screen. And he almost fell off his chair because he was like, holy shit. Now he didn't say this out loud, but we talked about this afterwards. He could not believe the daily revenue numbers that our friend was cranking out on autopilot. And what happened in that moment was his entire worldview and belief system was shattered and remodeled. So he was thinking, well, maybe I can come online and make a few grand a month. Meanwhile, our buddy is doing tens of thousands of dollars per day. And he saw this just quickly. And all of a sudden now, his belief of what was possible radically changed. Fast forward several years later, he committed to doing what was needed to build his business online. So what did he do? He didn't try to figure it out by himself. he started to connect with myself and other people in the group who are doing really well. And he just started asking, like, what's the one thing I have to really master to get good at this? For him, it was copywriting. Quite honestly, for most people, it's gonna be copywriting, messaging, understanding how to influence people through words. So he committed to that. From that time, several years forward, he built his business to 7 figures, and he now does multiple 8 figures per year. And it all started, I really do think, in that mastermind, because it was his belief system that was completely overhauled because he saw what someone else and other people in the room were doing. They were no smarter, they were no better looking, they had the same knowledge, but they just had a different level of skill set that he hadn't developed yet and a different mindset. So what does this all mean to you? Well, my number one piece of advice to you is get out from the computer, get out from your office and start getting into groups or getting into events where you can mingle and be surrounded by other people who are much further ahead than you are. And that's so, so important. And hopefully this message is resonating with you. Now, it just so happens that we actually have our HealthPreneur live events, which is back up after 3 years of lockdowns and all that kind of stuff. We're actually hosting our next big event September 21st and 24th in Scottsdale, Arizona. Just in case you don't know, we actually ran this event live in person for 3 years before the pandemic started. And it was usually a very exclusive client mostly event. We have about 150 to 200 people. And it's just honestly, like, I can't even explain it. If you want to check it out, we'll include the link below. It's healthpreneurgroup.com/live. Again, it's a mostly private event for clients. We have opened up a select number of spots for general public who are health professionals who want to grow their businesses online. If you're interested, check it out. We have limited spots remaining, but nonetheless, what we've noticed every single time we do this event is that people come, whether they're clients or non-clients. And what happens within the first week of them leaving is things just start taking off in their business. Wherever their business was at, things are doing well, they're growing, whatever. As soon as they leave the event, it's like a hockey stick inflection point. Why does that happen? Well, at least in our case, the way we build our events is really based around experience and connection and community. It's not so much about the content. We don't bring in the famous speakers. I don't want to play that bullshit circus act just to get people in the seats. It's ridiculous. You can listen to their podcasts. You can watch them on YouTube. They're going to tell you the same stuff from stage that they just shared on a podcast. In our case, we bring our clients as speakers. We bring our team members as speakers because we have found that our clients or the people that have attended the events actually want to hear from other people like them. And so we really just highlight our clients who've had some good success and they just kind of share their journey and what's worked for them. And that's been super, super inspiring because now you're in the audience and you're seeing someone who's just like one step ahead of you, who's like, hold on, last year they were in my shoes and now they're doing this. Holy shit, I can do this too. So there's that piece of it, but there's also this sense of when you're in a group of people and just having conversations and hanging out by the pool. Our events are really built around like this downtime as opposed to like fire hosing content at you for like 3 days in a row, which is ridiculous. It's really about connecting with people and getting to know them and kind of sharing shared experiences. So what happens is there's this sense of, number one, I'm not alone. There's other crazies out there like me who actually understand what it is we're doing. Because quite honestly, how many of us have family members or friends who have no freaking clue what it is we do? So it is really, really helpful to be surrounded by a group of people, a tribe of people who get you. Because when that happens, you feel like, all right, cool. Like I'm not the only one. And these other people have a shared experience and we can, resonate. So first and foremost, being in these types of events makes a huge difference because now you can share, best practices, what's working, etc., with other people who are on exactly the same train as you, on the same track toward the same destination. The other cool part about this is that you're going to connect with people who are just so much further ahead, not necessarily in years or revenue necessarily, in some cases, yes, but they've just gone through a lot more and therefore have a lot of perspective to share. For instance, our HealthPreneur Live event, as I mentioned, a lot of attendees, and I tell them this on the first session, I tell them, like, guys, here's what's going to happen when you leave this event in 3 days, is you're going to get back to your house, your office, your home, wherever you work, and out of nowhere, for no rhyme or reason, things are going to take off in your business. And the reason for that is because energetically, you are vibing at a higher frequency. As you guys have probably seen, one of my license plates is Vibrate High. I talk about this a lot. The importance of maintaining a high vibration, high energy, high frequency, because when you are in that state, things just work better for you and nothing might have changed in the business. You've done nothing differently, tactically, strategically. You've not grinded more, but you're in a better energy because you've been in the soup, the success soup for a few days, and you feel a new sense of conviction, a new sense of belief, a new sense of possibility that you didn't have before. And because of that certainty and that energy that's been raised now, you start to to line up with those things that you want, and they just start to naturally happen for you in your business. So typically what we see in our type of business model for our clients, where they're coaching clients, enrollment calls, etc., is right after the event or even during the events, they're getting more calls booked. They're finding it easier to enroll clients there afterwards. They just happen, like things just happen more naturally and more easily and more effortlessly in their business. And it's a great reminder that you don't necessarily need more tactics, but you do have to surround yourself with that type of energy. And when you plug yourself into those environments, like if you do it once, twice a year, it's probably one of the best things you can do for your business. And I share this again from personal experience as a guy who was like, no, I'm good. I'm just going to hide behind my computer. I don't have time for that. Don't make that same mistake. It is so detrimental to your growth. And this video serves really as a public service announcement to get off your ass, get away from the computer, and get yourself, whether it's to HealthPreneur Live or to anything else. Now, obviously, I'm very biased. I think our event is phenomenal. And the reason I think it's phenomenal is because I've been to a lot of events and I wanted to create something that was more in line with the experience that we wanted to create, which was curated content instead of fire hosed at you, community, connection, and really going deeper as opposed to you feeling exhausted and like just with a huge notebook of notes that are not going to go anywhere after you leave the event. So again, if you're interested in joining us, it's healthpreneurgroup.com/live. As I'm recording this, I think we've got like a handful of spots left, so maybe they're already gone by the time you see this. I don't know. But listen, if you want to hang out with me, if you want to hang out with my team, if you want to hang out with hundreds of other top health professionals and coaches who are building 6- and 7-figure businesses online, this is the event that you definitely do not want to miss. We host it once a year, and I don't want to hear the excuse of like, oh, if it was closer or whatever. It's in Scottsdale, Arizona. If you live in Canada or the US, there's no excuse. It's a 3-hour flight at the most from wherever you are. We have clients flying in from Europe. We have clients flying in from all over the world. And what I often say is this: when it's a must, you'll find a way. When it's a nice to have, you'll find an excuse. So I'm not here to sell you on the event because quite honestly, we have a select number of spots left. If you'd like to join us and you fit the bill of someone who is doing big things with your business online, you have experience, you're great at what you do, and you want to be plugged into the success soup, this is an event you definitely do not want to miss. So again, we'll include the link below in the description here. So again, just to kind of sum all this up and wrap it all up, the number one way to grow your business online is actually to spend less time online. And I share this with you because the most important work that you do has nothing to do with being connected to the internet. And if it does, I would certainly question the business model. If your business revolves around you living on Instagram in the DMs, if your business revolves around you living in Facebook groups, if your business revolves around you posting content all the time, that is a significantly flawed business model because it's tied 100% to your time. It is tied 100% to being connected to the internet. And that means massively distracted from actually what moves the needle, which is you creating things. And then once those are created, then put them out into the world. But unless you have that type of structure in place, you will always be tied to the phone. You will always be tied to your computer, and you will always be limited by what's possible because you're playing small. But as soon as you recognize that your genius has nothing to do with being connected to the internet, but you being connected to your higher self, your higher genius, and taking that time to create, the faster your business will grow. And in addition to that is putting yourself in situations, in environments with other real people in person, because proximity is power. You become the reflection, you become the standards of your peer group. If your peer group is from high school, you've got problems. If your peer group is your family, you've got problems, because unless they're where you want to be, you will never get where you want to go, because we will only rise to the standards of the people we surround ourselves with most. If that's your situation, it is more important than ever to put yourself in an environment where people are playing at a higher level, because what it's going to do is energetically, it's going to pull you up. And that's massively important if growing your business is important to you. So there you go. I hope you've enjoyed this one. Again, if you want to learn about HealthPreneur Live, the link is below. It's healthpreneurgroup.com/live. We would love to see you there. We only have a handful of spots left as of this recording. So again, if you want to hang out with me for 3 days, it's going to be a great opportunity, as well as some amazing colleagues who are doing big things to help shatter your beliefs, restructure what you think is possible. This is definitely an event that you definitely don't want to miss. But if you can't join us, that's fine. Find a way to get yourself in person with more people who are at a higher level. It will change everything for you. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one, somewhere over there.